Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So good morning. Welcome to another market open stream. The bell has just rung and we are starting another day. Hopefully a recovery day because yesterday was absolutely brutal, but not all hope is lost, and I'll explain why. And plus today, of course, we have the big merge, Ethereum merge, that's been hyped up for quite some time. It's going to happen today. So what's going to happen with Ethereum afterwards? Let's discuss all these things today. So smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com. And make sure you follow my other channels as well. Good morning, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see. Bitcoin doing a little better than yesterday, about the same as last night. But what's encouraging is if you look at the entire market cap, it has been coming up, and we're nearing that 1 trillion mark once again. So to put things into context, just a week ago, we were way lower than our current level now. I remember the current or the previous market cap was around 960 billion. Obviously, prior to yesterday, we were a little bit higher than a trillion, but we're right there, right? So not all hope is lost, and there's many that are taking advantage of cheap prices right now, right? So if you're looking at U.S. market today, well, the futures is indicating a recovery day, slightly green, although it's barely in the green. It could turn around. You can see that, yeah, worst day since June of 2020. That's how bad yesterday was. But we have some good news and some bad news on the macro front. What's considered a bad news is that there may be a huge railroad strike. If this is not somehow negotiated and both sides want to strike, or at least one side want to strike, this could happen. And if it happens, it could cost up to $2 billion per day. So I don't think anyone wants this to happen. And as for supply chain issues, if we have this going on, it's going to make supply chain much, much, much worse. Prices will go up on many goods that can't hit stores anymore, right? So hopefully this gets resolved. We have until Friday. If it doesn't get resolved, then we're going to have this huge strike. And that's not what we want. So that's not good news for today, right? But we have a couple more days. Hopefully this gets resolved. Otherwise, this is going to make inflation even worse. But as for good news, here's the good news. UK inflation unexpectedly dips to 9.9% from 10.1%. And that's because, surprisingly, fuel prices decline. We know fuel prices have been declining in the US. Unfortunately, it was not enough to offset, some of the other rising rates for other things. But you know what? This is good for UK. So it's not going out of control as for inflation, although some are still anticipating inflation in the UK will keep going until it hits 18%, which will be a horrible situation, right? So hopefully that doesn't happen. But that's good news today. Let's put that in the good news pile. Mortgage demand drops. That's kind of bad news. Mortgage demand drops from last year, about 29%. But the good news is the rates are coming down, right? So even though it's pretty high right now, it's starting to fall a little bit because demand is falling. So this is considered good and bad news. But obviously what's happening with the treasury yields going up, and then also with the fund rate going up, it's affecting a lot of mortgages out there and mortgage demand. But this is what Powell wants. Powell wants things to settle down, to curb demand. The hope is that he doesn't curb it too much to the point where people are mass dumping their houses like back in 2008, right? Hopefully we don't get to that kind of situation again. But I think we're still far off from that. All right, so we have that. And then finally, what's going on in the U.S.? Well, Biden's going to approve a $900 million EV charging fund that will put new charging stations in 35 states, right? This is outside the Tesla supercharger network. So we know that there's a big initiative to push everyone to EV right now, right? But where are people going to charge their cars, besides just at home? Well, there needs to be a lot more chargers. You could argue more than even gas station, right? Because it takes longer to charge a car. So we got to put more charging stations. Well, I guess the 900 million let's go do that. I don't know how many stations they're actually going to add. I bet each station probably costs $1 million, if not more. So this will probably just only add like 1,000 stations at most. Probably more like 500 stations. So I don't know if this is enough. All right. As for some crypto stuff, of course, we got the merge. We got the big merge that's happening today. According to this countdown, we got about 15 hours, although this can adjust. This is supposed to be adjusting on the fly. It's looking at a certain block number, and it could come sooner than this. So by the time I stream, it'll be past. If this is accurate, then it'll be past when I stream tonight. But who knows? Maybe it starts speeding up, right? But anyways, regardless, we've been waiting for this merge for quite a long time. The beacon chain and the current proof of works chain will combine into one, and then Ethereum will become 99% more energy efficient. ETH issuance will drop by 90%, and it becomes proof of stake, right? It sounds all good, right? Except, I showed you guys this last night about whales dumping Ethereum on Bitfinex. They have done it for 3 days now. Last night was this. I know it's right here. Last night it showed that they dumped about 355,000 ETH, and going into today another 345,000. So this is all going into Bitfinex, right? So there's some whales that is manipulating the market. So they're kind of doing that sell the rumor, buy the news kind of thing. No, buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing, right? At least it looks like they were trying to do that, and they might have caused more of a sell-off yesterday, right, with the panic. But it's still happening. This is a lot. If you look at the inflow into Bitfinex, right? If you just sort it by Bitfinex here, I mean, take a look at that. I mean, that's undisputable how much ETH went into the Bitfinex, which is a very highly leveraged exchange, right? And that was done on purpose. There's no denying that, and we see more of that today. But seeing how Ethereum is recovering a little bit better today, right? It has not done over the last 2 days. Maybe the sell-off is over for Ethereum. So maybe after this merge, we're actually going to see a good rally. I mean, a lot of people are still antsy about this merge, like what's going to happen to price action right afterwards. No one really knows. But long-term, I do think this is fantastic for for Ethereum. So overall, I think this is a very positive thing. But you know what? We will see. We will see what happens. We don't have to wait much further. And, people, of course, are charting Ethereum. And if this is accurate, you know what? Ethereum has some nice upside to it still. So something to look forward to. All right. What else is there? As for Bitcoin is still holding strong above 20,000. I know the whales, the market manipulators want to drop Bitcoin below 20,000. 20,000 is an important psychological level. To be able to hold at 20,000 is vital and very important, and it is doing so right now. So that's very encouraging, very positive. This actually is very interesting, showing that, Bitcoin had a double bottom, and plus there was a death cross that happened in 2018, 2019, and most people see Deathcross as a very bad thing. When in this case, is the 50 moving average, weekly moving average versus the 100, and whenever the shorter time frame one, the 51 crosses below the longer time frame, usually that's a bad thing. Usually it's like 51, 200, but in this case, the 5100. But the thing is, a lot of times when that happens, it's because the moving averages are a lagging indicator. So by the time it happens, we've already seen bottom and we're recovering, right? So that's exactly what happened in 2018, 2019 when we saw that death cross, and shortly afterwards, Bitcoin rallied hard. So we're actually seeing that right now. Exactly right now, we have experienced that death cross, and we had that double bottom, right? So does that mean we're going to repeat what happened in 2019 all the way up to 2022 when Bitcoin ran up from $3,000 to $70,000? Are we carrying up for that? I like to think so. I like to hope. Maybe not that soon, but that wasn't that soon either. After 2019, we had to wait for 2020, then 2021, the second half of 2021 before things got exciting, right? So sometimes coming off a bottom takes a while. It takes years. It's not an instant recovery, right? So we may be on our way already, but it just may take some time. And then what is it? Outside the TA, you look at things like number of addresses continues to skyrocket, right? Things are still looking very strong for Bitcoin. This is why you should not give up hope. Should not give up on your future dreams of attaining life-changing wealth through Bitcoin and crypto, right? Things are still very, very strong. So ignore short-term price volatility. And then lastly, a few things. This came and went really fast, but I guess this is good for Doge. Elon released the Cyberwhistle, and the only way you could buy this is using Doge. So right now, the current use case for Doge is to buy Tesla accessories. You can't buy a Tesla, but you could buy Tesla accessories. But that's the unfortunate thing is I wish there was more utility to Doge. Maybe, embrace Doge chain or something. Get some usage rather than just, stay as a meme coin. But, Elon is doing his part, so I guess that's good. And then lastly, we have this. Finally. I was going to put this on a thumbnail. I'm like, I'd rather make it about Ethereum. But South Korean court issues arrest warrant against Do Kwon. We knew this was coming. Do Kwon has said, there's no reason for me to go back to Korea because no one's looking for me. Now he does have a reason, but it's not a good reason because if he goes back, he's going to get arrested. And not only him, 5 others that I don't know if they're still in Korea or not. And they are charged with violating the Capital Markets Act. Not familiar with that act, but of course, when you have a $40 billion project go under, and then you all of a sudden flee the country, it's not a good sign, right? It's not a good look, not for the entire country and not for anyone. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if he turns himself in, and this could be the reason why. Finally, we're seeing Luna and Luna Classic, those crazy shenanigan pumps, starting to really lose their steam. So that's the news. That's the news. All right, let's do some Q&A. Dan, I don't disagree with you. All right, let's see here. Well, today's looking good. Looking good. Ford outlines EV investment structure for its dealers as it chases Tesla-like profits. I know the new Ford CEO, he wants to go direct-to-consumer model, and I think that's great. You know, all the shenanigans going on with dealerships marking up their prices by like 20, 30, 50, $100,000 goes away if you just sell directly to consumer at a set price, right? But dealerships are barking at this, and everyone is like, "No, you can't do that. You can't do that." You know, but it's the way to go. Tesla started it. Now others are following. Ian is saying the power grid in California cannot handle EV cars. Yeah, right now, from what I hear, the heat wave is really affecting the grid. But you know what? This is going to move forward. According to this article, Biden wants by 2030, 50% of the cars to be EV. And I hear in UK, by 2030, it's supposed to be 100% EV cars. I don't know how about the power grid in the UK or how many stations there are, but 50% of all new vehicles sold to be electric or plug-in hybrid by 2030. So I don't know about the grid in most cities around the U.S. Howdy, Shannon. Welcome. Ravencoin, not a fan because it allows you to create security tokens, and no one wants to create security tokens at this time. With poor inflation outlook, do you think the bear market extends well into 2023? It could definitely happen. We may not get any significant recovery until the second half of 2023. That certainly could be the case, but I do think that this Fed-induced recession, and yes, it's a Fed-induced recession, there's going to be a turning point, right? There has to be a turning point to all this. And when it happens, there could be a tremendous amount of money sitting on the sidelines flowing right back in. So we could have a recovery sooner than expected. What happens to dealerships then? Well, you know what happens is you pick up your car at the dealerships, and you can still, obviously, if you need to get your car fixed, still go to the dealership, right? You know, I've talked to many dealerships because of my car channel. I've talked to many dealerships. Dealerships do not make really any money from selling new cars because they're supposed to sell it at MSRP, right? Right now it's a little bit different. They're taking advantage of the situation, but dealerships make most of their money from repairs, from fixes, and used cars, right? So actually, if you think about this, this doesn't really affect the dealers all that much. Dealerships that, you know, if let's say you order from Ford.com, you order a Lightning, you pick it up at your little dealership, right? Dealership probably gets some kind of credit for you selecting them. So there's still incentive to provide great service because you still want people to select you to pick up your cars. But then, you know what? The real moneymaker is when people need to fix their Lightning or fix their cars. Or if people still want to shop around for used cars, right? You can't do that online. You got to do it on the dealership. Well, I mean, you can do it online, but I mean, saying if you want to actually pick up one, you still have to do it at dealership. So it actually makes a whole lot of sense. And if any other manufacturer does this, they actually have advantage over Tesla because Tesla does not have that many stations, right, or dealerships. And the experience at a dealership is not all that good. Usually you only go because you need to fix your Tesla. And you know, a lot of them, they're just not that good. They're so backed up and they don't have a lot of rental cars or loaner cars. And you know what? So like if Ford really goes in direction or any other manufacturer, it could actually work out if you really think about it. All right, Aaron, you need to chill out. Cal says, I'll never enter dealership again. Not all dealerships are bad. So there are still some that you don't want to visit because the people there still think they're from the 1970s and they're just all really like out to get you. But there's some nice people in dealerships now that they know what's going on. People price shop. People been looking around and they know exactly what they want, and they're good people. So not everyone's like that. A lot of dealerships, they give out the pricing over email now. They don't force you to go in. I mean, there are some modernized ones. Let's just say that. Bullish Kenny, man. Keep asking me this super chat. Is not going to make it happen sooner. But I appreciate the shout out and support. Jimmy, check out Kadena Mining Club. Animated NFTs bring mining power to everyone. NFT tied directly to ASIC chips in a miner. Jimmy, to me that doesn't make a lot of sense and unnecessary, so I'm not going to be checking that out. But thank you. Why not retrofit every gas station with charging portal? That is a very valid point. That's a very valid point, and I thought about that. I'm like, Shell and BP and I don't know what other gas stations there are. Costco, ones. It wouldn't be a bad idea if they start retrofitting, EV stations inside their gas station, and then, they still charge for that electricity. That wouldn't be a bad idea. I think they're all afraid to do that, and plus, there's probably a ton of costs for that. But if there's some kind of government grant that offset the cost, I mean, hell, why not do it? Right? People that are charging EVs, guess what they're doing, right? Normally, they get out of their car and they go get a snack or something. So, you want to draw those people in because most likely they're going to get out and go inside and grab a drink or something like that while they're waiting. Especially if there's like a Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's built in, they may even stop by for other things. But, that makes sense. Haven't really heard about that yet, but I think that makes a lot of sense. You think Bitcoin will hit all-time high before or after the halving? I think the next one probably will be after. Just like all the previous ones, the high came after a halving event. We'll probably see that again. But doesn't mean we can't recover significantly beforehand. But the next high, wherever that may be, 200,000, 250,000, right? That will probably come sometime in probably 2025, somewhere around there, because the next halving event is 2024. The weight will be ridiculous. Well, that's why you need them at every gas station, right? So a lot of cars these days, they charge very fast. All the newer EV cars that I've reviewed, it's like 10 to 80% within now 18, 20 minutes. And it doesn't mean that you need to charge at 80%. You could just charge half of that, charge up to 40%, which is more than enough. 40% in most cars will give you like 150, 100 to 125 miles, right? So you could charge within like 10 minutes. So it's not as long as before, especially with these super fast chargers. I have a friend who owns a dealership. The fast charging station are a huge expense. I have no doubt, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of government grants, state grants, local grants that are willing to pay for some of those costs or offset some of those costs. Cal, appreciate it. DZ said from BitBoy, said you could take $50 if you 20x twice, it makes $200,000. That can't be true. I don't know. Compounding adds up really quick. I'm not going to do the math in my head, but that sounds right. If you do a 20x, if you double it 20 times, it could be true. The new, yeah, I just found out about that. The new EV Hummer weighs close to 10,000 pounds. That's insane, because they have some crazy 200 kilowatt battery or something, 225, whatever it is. So the new Hummer, the new EV Hummer is so heavy. In fact, it can't go on all the roads. There are some roads with restrictions. You know, you can't go over 6,000 pounds or 8,000 pounds or whatever. And now the EV Hummer is coming in 9,000 pounds. Can't they make that thing lighter? I mean, that's just a ridiculous amount of weight to be carrying around. But anyways, that's just the reality of it. Dan, when do you think the price action for ETH will take effect after the merge? I'm hearing reports on CNBC that Ethereum will soon have a role as a store of value. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I've been talking about that. It becomes deflationary. Yes. Is BTC in trouble? No. And as for when it's going to start moving, who knows? It started recovering since yesterday already. So we're above 1,600. It's not that far off from where it was. It's only 100 points off. It was like 1,730 2 days ago. So it's not that far off. As for when it can move anytime. It can move right after the merge. It can move maybe afterwards. We have to see. But long term, it definitely is more appealing as a store of value, but still not nearly as scarce as Bitcoin. And it doesn't have a set supply like Bitcoin. So the store of value aspect to Ethereum grows, but still nowhere as strong as Bitcoin's. AJ, appreciate it, man. Can you look into what's going on with Vault? Juan, unfortunately, nothing good. So latest I heard, they're trying to sell to Nexo. And I think that's almost complete. And I don't know what's going to happen after that. So I know that's the latest information that I got from a few weeks ago. One Tesla with rocket boosters, that's already in the works. The new Tesla Roadster has some booster in the back, and it like pumps out like some kind of compressed air, like something that they took off of SpaceX. So the new Tesla Roadster will do 0 to 60 in 1.2 seconds. And according to Elon, it's the fastest a car can ever go. Like electricity can't even move that fast to the wheels. That's why they put in that rocket booster, which I don't know will get approved because I don't know how safe it is. But trust me when I say this, a Model S Plaid that does 0 to 60 1.99, and I had that car for a little bit. Every time I floored it, it's ridiculously fast. No matter how fast you're going, you could be going at 80 on the highway and you floor it, you're at like 130 like instantly. And if you're at 40 and you floor it, you're at 100 instantly. And if you're at 0 and floor it, doesn't matter how fast you're going. That thing is so fast, it causes a headache because blood flows into your head too fast. Now, imagine twice as fast as that. To get 0 to 60 down to 1.1, 1.2 seconds, the thrust is going to be so insane. It's probably going to be pulling like 2 or 3 Gs when it's doing that. And it's all straight into your head. Like, it's just too ridiculous if you think about it. So, it'll be like a, those top fuel dragsters. It'll be like that. It'll be like just, it'll cause you to pass out. All right. Says pump my bags. I don't know which bags you hold, but just stay strong. Roy, I appreciate that. If ETH becomes a store of value, and when burn mechanism has burned enough of the supply, could ETH overtake Bitcoin's market share? Yeah, it can. It can. It doesn't even need to burn enough of the supply. The burning just basically offsets what gets inflated. So I don't think it's actually going to really burn the supply in any significant way. But can Ethereum ever pass Bitcoin in market value? Yes. It just needs a lot more people to use it. And there are more use cases right now for Ethereum. So yes, it could happen. And no, it's not going to cause the government to try to ban Bitcoin because of energy usage. I don't think that's going to happen. Think about the power grid and the problems with it now, right? And think about what EV cars are going to do. There's a lot more issues at play than Bitcoin mining. It's going to be irrelevant in the future because all power grids and power systems and power plants they're going to be, they need to be upgraded significantly in the future. Should Top Gun should have just drove the plaids for the final mission instead of jets. That's funny. That's funny. Top Gun Maverick was a terrific movie. Everyone should go watch it. What's causing ADA to break out? Well, you know, I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. I think people forget the Vassal hard fork is coming next week. So after the merge, I think all eyes will be on Cardano to see how successful this merge, their hard fork will be. So we could see a decent price action with Cardano afterwards. But right now, we need to recover a little bit more overall with Bitcoin and everything else. All right, guys. Overall today, recovery day. The big news, two big news. One is Ethereum Merge, right? So we'll see if it comes early. If it does, then tonight I'll be covering it. Second big news is Do Kwon's arrest warrant. Not that it's going to make up for any of the people that lost on Luna or UST, but you know what? The saga is finally coming to a conclusion. So stay strong, my friends, and let's see what happens with the market today. We're going to see more recovery. Tune in tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.